Hello, beautiful people. It's me, Kirsten, and this is the It's Giving Mystical podcast, and this is your podcast for the week ahead, the week of October 4th. Okay. Just let yourself breathe for a second. If you're hearing my voice, just let yourself have a full exhale. Let yourself kind of land in your body a little more fully than maybe you were a minute ago or 2 minutes ago. There's a lot happening right now, so just acknowledge, validate. There is a lot happening in my life, in the world. It is a lot for my animal body to hold and metabolize and be with. And so I'm going to remember the importance of free will. I'm going to remember the importance of protecting my space. I'm going to remember that I too deserve to find the peace, the quiet, the groundedness to decide what's next for me. Free will is something we forget, but in these spiritual mystical realms, we need to remember we have the right to set the pace for our life. We have the right to set the pace for our unfolding, our evolution, our becoming. And you're not on anyone's timeline. And you don't owe anyone a pace or a speed or even a waiting. If you don't want to wait, don't wait. Like, you don't owe anyone anything in terms of the time it takes you to move through life, the time it takes you to be with yourself as you unfold, as you become the next version of yourself, today's version of yourself. The energy that we are just coming out of with this eclipse is no joke. This eclipse cycle has been from last September, October to this September, October, and it's intense. It's asking a lot of us. It was asking for kind of a masterclass in re-understanding our boundary lines, re-understanding our relationships, re-understanding partnerships, and where we still exist within the space with another. And that can be with your children, it can be with your business partners, it can be with your romantic partner, it can be with your friendships, your communities, the organizations you're part of. It can be in so many places where you noticed where things were getting confusing between what was you and what was us. And that's all right. This eclipse portal, this eclipse season is closed, but it leaves in its aftermath work to be done. It leaves in its aftermath feelings to feel, and that's all right. There's this combination of both tenderness and grief and maybe even a little bit of sorrow about what is ending, what is falling away, and an incredible hopefulness about what is coming. Can you feel like both and? Like the tenderness and the insecurity and the seed of hopefulness. Both of those things are existing in our space at the same time right now. I will say to you that the numerology and tarot of October is a little bit funky. It just is. It's also kind of mysterious and exciting. There's potential for miracles in a space like this. Potential for confusion, yes, but potential for miracles. And so I offer you to hold that possibility for yourself and for the world. When we have the Wheel of Fortune, the 10-month, October is always a Wheel of Fortune month. We're dealing with the turning of the wheel. We're dealing with the fact that things are beginning the month one way and ending the month another. We're dealing with the fact that this is a liminal space. It's an in-between space. The ground is not settled. If you picture life like, it almost looks like a chessboard in my mind, and all the pieces are moving, and not only are the pieces moving, but the tiles are moving underneath the pieces. Everything's getting reshuffled. That's what Wheel of Fortune energy is. It brings into your space new opportunities, new people, new ideas, new vistas, new geographies. Like, it really does shift things on the map for you, and the Wheel of Fortune always does turn in your favor. So it might feel uncomfortable, unsettled. It might feel really fast. So again, I want to remind you of your right to free will, your right to set the pace for yourself. It might feel really fast, but it is movement, and it is turning to liberate more of you, to assist you in your unfolding and in your evolution. You layer on top of that we have the Moon card, because we're in the 8th year and we're in the 10th month, we're in 18, we're in the Moon card. The Moon card is like the realm of dreams, dude. Like, it's something out of Inception or Tenet or one of these like weird movies where what is even happening and what does even time mean? Or what's the one where time folds and he walks right through it? You know what I mean? Like the wormhole one. What's that? That's not Inception. Is that Inception? It's like one of my daughter's favorite movies. I want to say Woody Harrelson, but it's not Woody Harrelson. It's Matthew McConaughey. And they go to space and then they realize the time is like folded and whatever. It's that kind of vibe. Like, you can't quite comprehend what's happening. And the best way to realize how moon energy is going to appear in your life, it's like the whole world went black and white. It's like the sun went out and the moon is what we navigate by now. That's different. Being in the world in the moonlight is a very different experience than being in the world in the sunlight. For some people, that's going to feel really at home and good. For some people, that's going to feel really disorienting. For everyone, the idea of contrast, the idea of detail, the idea of color is going to mean something different. And while contrast is highlighted, like you'll see more clearly, you will also see less clearly. There's like a paradox in that energy. But we might want to take our time. When we're navigating by moonlight, we might travel more slowly. That's just true. The moon is also an invitation to evolution. So one of my favorite parts about the Rider-Waite moon card is this crayfish. There's this crayfish on the card that stands between the wolf and the dog. And it kind of has this momentum to it. But she talks about this impulse to leap forward. And the moon card is always an invitation to evolution. And that's an invitation, not a demand. So sometimes we feel the pull towards this next chapter, this next way of being, this next version of ourselves, and we are ready. And if we are ready, a leap is required. We have to jump. We have to go that way, even if we can't be sure of the outcome. And if we're not ready, we kind of crawl back into the warm waters and we just chill for a minute, knowing the invitation will come again. And there's no real right and wrong. Like, none of this is happening on a train track. Like, none of this is happening in a straight line. It's all happening in this kind of ebb and flow, opening and closing, forward and backwards. And the moon card is this portal, this invitation to leap forward into the next iteration of you. And if that feels good, yay. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. The moon card and the Wheel of Fortune are saying the landscape is shifting and you are shifting. So I want you to think about that. That's you, that's me, that's everyone you know, everyone you're in contact with, everyone you see out in the world. It's the collective unconscious, the stories we're telling each other. It's like a lot of evolution in lots of different ways, and that's just going to change the game, right? Because who you're talking to today is not who you were talking to yesterday. And who you talk to tomorrow, you won't be the same person tomorrow. Like, it's all happening fairly rapidly. And October is this month where there's just change. And so you don't want to make decisions if you don't have to, unless you're really sure, unless your gut is saying, this is for me. This is a leap I want to make. This is aligned with who I am and who I want to become all at the same time. That's the litmus test for October. So I offer you patience with yourself. I offer you to take your time and know that you're seeing clearly. And remember, it's like the Little Prince quote, right? What is true is not seen with the eye. What's true is seen with the heart. You really want to lean into that. You also want to lean into this energy of, I'm available for that, I'm not available for that. One of the women in Women's Circle said that this morning, and it just rang so true. What a good thing to remember in October. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to let the world know why you're changing. You need to say, I'm available for that, I'm not available for that, and take that conversation where it needs to go. But that alone is enough. Like, it's enough to say, this is aligned for me, this is not aligned for me. And, trust yourself, trust that gut, trust that spidey sense in this month ahead. The card I pulled for us this week is the Queen of Cups. That just feels like right on time with everything I'm saying. This is a week where you want to come back to yourself. When you feel yourself pulled or unsure or kind of running your wheels around a situation or around anything at all, I want you to really take any kind of push out, any kind of reactivity, any kind of insecurity as an invitation to come back to yourself. What's in your cup? What is yours to manage? Queen of Cups is always an invitation into your own art, into your own creativity, into the things that inspire you. Her work is to dive deeply into her own emotions, the sea of feeling that lives within her. So the Queen of Cups is an invitation, like, take your time. Take your time with your feelings. Take your time with your introspection. Like navel gazing, the Queen of Cups is like the queen of that in the best possible way. Kind of daydreamy, non-linear exploration of what this is like. What is it like for me to be in the world? What is it like for me to experience the life I've experienced? And how does that feel? How do I feel? And to take the time to process through that and not, if you can, not generate narrative or story or the way it's supposed to be or what the feeling means. Just allow the feeling to be. That's what the Queen of Cups does. And from that place, she makes art. And that's the beautiful thing. Like the best expression of the Queen of Cups is someone who is in touch with and interested in their emotional life, their emotional body, their emotional experience. And they know that there's something about that is both deeply unique, like this is all mine, I'm the only one who could ever know this, and at the same time, talk about paradox again, deeply universal. We've all been in the place where you are. And doesn't mean we can get it. Doesn't mean it's not special. It is. It's so special. It's so special that you are asked to make art of that experience in a way that bridges the gap between how this is mine and how this is also an experience we all can identify with. That's like, right, the most beautiful art in the world. That's what's happening. It's like someone saying, my heart felt this. I saw this. I heard this. And then the world saying, oh, that's familiar. I've also seen that, but not like that. I've also heard that, but not the way you put it. And there's this like deep connection and also miraculous awe at the fact that this something can be both so unique and so deeply universally felt at the same time. The Queen of Cups is really on the search for that treasure. She's the only one in the cup suit who has a closed cup, which means that this is a private experience. This is something that you are here to experience with you. And so October, everything's changing. You're not really sure what's next. If a decision has to be made, and I really want you to really honor that. Does a decision have to be made, or you would like one to be made? But unless something really feels ripe and ready, like I'm ready, this is clear, this is so clear, you wait. Like that would be the advice from the numerology and the tarot of this month. The Wheel of Fortune and the Moon is like, you just don't know what's going to happen. And that's why it's the place of miracles, right? That's why you really just don't know what's going to happen. And the thing you thought was impossible a month ago could find its way to the world in a day, in a minute, in a heartbeat. Like lives change all the time. And that's the energy that's with us. And so if you're not like in that moment of clarity and surety, the Queen of Cups is inviting you to come inside instead, like come back home to you instead. Queen of Cups is really the domain of the artist and the poet and the thinker. And there's a sense of taking your emotional life, your emotional body seriously in a way that our culture like kind of encourages, but also is dismissive of, because it can turn the corner into that type of navel gazing, right? It can turn the corner into that type of like self-indulgence. And the Queen of Cups really doesn't, that's not her thing. That's not what she's going for. She's not going for like rolling around in my feelings like in mud. She's going in like diving into my emotions, because I know that in my heart, in my feelings, in my tenderness, there is great treasure. And I know that part of my role here on earth is to unearth that treasure and make art of it for the world. So the Queen of Cups is interesting energy for us to have in this week ahead. And I invite you back home to yourself over and over again. I invite you to take very seriously this question of what you're available for and what you're not available for. And see what you can relax on the other side of that. There's a truth. There are things that you are available for and things that you are not available for. And coming to peace with that, trusting your instincts around that, is a really powerful position. So you want to keep kind of remembering that this week ahead and this month ahead. And for the Queen of Cups, if you are an artist, if you are a poet, if you need quiet time, you are so invited into that in this week ahead. And knowing that your time spent diving and floating among the emotional sea of your life is actually there for a reason. There's a time, there's a time for everything under the sun. There's a time for soaking in your own emotional experience and deciding what wants to be taken with you from the depths. That's the clearest way to say it. You are a treasure. You have a right to protect your space and your heart and your emotions. And that will also come with the Queen of Cups. Like, she doesn't owe anything to anyone. And you don't owe anything to anyone. And so how can you sit with that space and honor the artist that you are? Honor the mystic that you are, and take your time with how you feel. Take your time. This whole month is a great thing to remember, but especially in this week ahead. All right, sending you so much love. Ride it. I trust you. I trust me. I know that we will ride whatever life brings us in October, and may it be a more liberated world for us all to live in, every single one of us. Okay? Checky. Bye. It's giving everything is sacred. It's giving art. It's giving light you up and turn you on and set you free. It's giving curiosity. It's giving freedom. It's giving love. It's giving you are more magical and powerful than you can comprehend. It's giving, I don't know what's happening, but I am so here for it. It's giving you our pure potential. It's giving mystical.